Hello and welcome back. So, this is the last lesson covering the foundations before we can start building our final scene. In this lesson, we'll be talking about some Solaris and USD essentials. We'll be using all the setups that we have created up until this point and trying to render those out using the Karma XPU renderer. So, let's get started. So, I have all my setups prepped and ready to be rendered. So, we can head straight to stage context. We already know how to do this for our vellum crowds. But let's start again, starting from exporting our materials as USD to be used across all the setups. So let's take a scene import materials node and let's do the same settings once more. Turn off your import objects and in the additional materials tab, add your agent template. And double asterisks to import all the materials. So we have all our materials present within this node. Now we can take a USD ROP node I'll create a new folder called USD caches and I'll be using the name of this node as a reference to the USD file. So you can call this materials. For this, we only need to save one frame. So we can keep it as render current frame. And click on save to disk. Our materials are now saved. Head to scene view. We can now take our first crowd import node. In the import path prefix, I'll put it as contact sheet. I'll duplicate this USD ROP node and rename this to contact sheet as well. I'll rename my crowd import node to in underscore contact sheet. I'll bring in my crowd from my contact sheet node in the SOPs. We have our agents coming in and we can press save to disk. Now let's take a sublayer node and re-import our materials. After re-importing our materials, we can import our contact sheet. Let's create a camera that we'll be using to render our contact sheet. Now we can copy our script for applying the crowd materials and paste it here. Let's also copy our ground and paste it. We don't need to cache out our ground as it's quite light. Let's set our camera up. I'll copy my light as well. And now we can switch to Karma XPU and preview our render. To actually render these out, we need to set up the Karma render settings. For that, I'll press tab and go to Karma setup. This will create two nodes, the Karma render settings node as well as the USD render ROP node. In the render settings, I'll change the resolution mode to manual and set it to 1920 by 1080. I'll set the path as well. And in the engine settings, I'll switch to XPU parameters. This way, Karma would know to use both your graphics card and your CPU to render, instead of just the CPU. In the filters, I'll turn off the denoiser and switch it to NVIDIA Optics denoiser. Now, coming to the USD render ROP, in this, you can turn on the M-Play monitor if you want to monitor the render while it's being rendered. So once you're happy with your render settings, you can click on Render to Disk. So now, our contact sheet has been rendered. Similarly, I'll go ahead and create the networks for all my setups. To change your render file names, you can change the node name for the Karma render settings node. I have gone ahead and created the networks for all my different setups. First, we have our contact sheet setup. Next, we have a visualization for our motion path setup. Then we have our motion path transitions, our motion path arcing layer, a render for our agent relationships with crowd motion paths, and finally, our vellum on crowd setup. So all of these are using the same setup, just with different inputs plugged into them. This makes the setup quite flexible and easy to reuse. So that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll be doing an environment layout for our final scene. Thanks for watching and see you in the next lesson.